Hello and welcome back to Adorabuild. My name is Ruth and my little dog is called Pucky. And in today's video we do have a lot of ground to cover. So to start off with, I will let you know that I got in so many extra parts to update my city and to do a lot of different things. So I was able to get in lots of bricks in order to be able to create some of those different levels that I'd been talking about, as well as some white bricks to do more snow and some lavender bricks in order to be able to do some more of the Enchanted Forest. On top of all of that, I was able to find some of those beautiful printed pieces for the background of the Enchanted Forest as well. So I was so pleased about that. So now we're moving on to the Oaken's trading post area, and I did have to get a spare pair of hands in order to help me out with being able to raise up this section. Now it is probably one of those strange things about how I build, is that quite often I do sort of build up an area and then decide on the topography. I just can't seem to be able to get my brain to recognise laying down a foundation area and then putting the structures on top and all of those sorts of things. So again, I thought that it might be of interest to some of you to be able to see how I actually go about building up my areas and adding in that sort of rise and fall and the different topography layers of my city. And here you can see that I have built up small little snow mounds to be used underneath the light aqua plates that form the base of this area. But there was a lot of just sort of trial and error and figuring things out as to how I could make sure that this area was sort of nice and stable, and then also sort of visually tied in with the aesthetics of what I was hoping to achieve in this section. So here it's just easiest to flip this section upside down in order to add in those coloured brick pillars. And here you can see that I am starting to think about how I'm going to fill in the little gaps in those little snow piles. And while this section did turn out okay, I still think that it kind of looks a lot more like brickwork or masonry work rather than actual snow with that sort of softness to it. So this may actually end up being changed. So I'm now going to head over to Build Ruth, and she's going to go through some of what has been achieved in this month in more detail. So now let's move over to Oaken's trading post, and you can see that that's where I'm storing all my parts underneath there. And not much has changed up here. I have placed in where I quite like the sled to go. I've been able to finish off the brown wooden pieces for the top of this roof. I've ordered in more parts in order to be able to finish off Oaken's interior, and I do still want to finish off some of the snow sections on top of that roof as well. And then I'm also just planning how I can start to fit the pine trees in. I've ordered the last little pieces of these light aqua ones to go onto that back panel as well. So that's all sort of coming together really well. So I do still have quite a lot of snow to be building across the front here, so I will need to order in a few more white bricks in order to get that going and sorted out as well. So that's going to be quite a bit of work, and again, hopefully I will be able to have that little secret area under here as well. I do have some ideas about what that's going to be. Thanks, Build Ruth. So that is the update for the Oaken trading post area for this month. Now let's move on to looking at our next section, which of course is going to be the Enchanted Forest. I would say out of all the sections for this particular city update, the Enchanted Forest was where I spent most of my time. It's also probably where I spent most of my money ordering in parts. So the first part of me updating this area was once again raising up the plates. So on screen now you can see that I am adding 2 bricks underneath all of these. I'm also trying to add in a few of the lavender bricks around the edges so that sort of starts to tie in the land a bit better. I do intend to add in a lot more rock work and possibly even a few different layers of plates along the front as well, just so that it isn't so square with all those 90-degree angles. So the other thing that I tried to do with this area was also stabilize some of the higher sections at the back of the Enchanted Forest. So just adding in a few more taller bricks, adding in a few more bricks along the bottom, making sure that they weren't quite so delicate and fragile and wobbling around as much. So again, just securing everything up a bit better. I also needed to make sure that I raised up those sections by those 2 bricks as well to remain consistent with what I had done with the rest of the ground in the Enchanted Forest area. I also got hold of a few extra lavender plates, so I was actually able to finish off the ground of the Enchanted Forest in the back corner where I actually didn't have any plates previously. So that was really super fantastic. I also was able to spend a little bit of time focusing on some of the details across the Enchanted Forest as well. So again, filling in more of those lavender bricks to make sure that all those holes and gaps were all filled in and looking fantastic. I was also able to add in a few curved slopes in some of the places as well, just to start to enhance some of that sort of woodland feel as well. So I was really pleased about being able to achieve all of that during this month. So that was really fantastic to be able to get some of that done. I was also really pleased to be able to pick up some of the parts that I needed in order to reduce some of the colours that actually came in the official sets, such as removing some of that lime green from the Enchanted Forest as well and swapping that out for grey. I just think that it's going to be so exciting to be able to look across this section of my city and see the transition between each of the colour palettes across those 4 sections. And when we get down to mini doll level, it just looks so magical already. I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. So the other section that I really wanted to start to pay attention to was actually what was going on the ice lake. I had this funny feeling that if I didn't start to put the cogs and the ice turning pieces into the lake now, that somehow or another I would end up forgetting to do that, and all these other things would get added in and I would miss out on having that beautiful ice horse being able to dance in the center of my lake. So here you can see that I am adding in those cog pieces that I actually took from the jewelry box and just working out how that was going to look the best and what the best logistics were going to be in and around that side of things. And here's another fantastic close-up image of the beautiful canoe floating down the ice river. So in this part of the video, I was really keen to show you my process for building up that really beautiful tall waterfall that is going to be placed in between Oaken's trading post and the Enchanted Forest. So you can see here that I have used a range of different blue bricks, and I've almost done a little bit of a gradient, moving from the more muted sand coloured blue bricks at the top of the waterfall, which is closer to Oaken's trading post and the ice, down into some of those more aqua and blue shades at the bottom. And then what I want to do as well is to place the trans blue bricks over the top of this, but I wanted to make sure that I did it in such a way that it did end up looking a little bit more organic. So having the bricks sort of different lengths, different sizes, overlapping each other, and really sort of trying to enhance that sort of organic feel of the waterfall. And you can see here, this is where I start to place this waterfall in between those two sections and sort of start to work out the best way to be able to tie these two areas together. I'm really pleased at how this was able to turn out, and I'm really happy with the overall look of this particular waterfall. Let's head on over to Build Ruth and hear her thoughts about the Enchanted Forest. So you can see here that the forest is really starting to take shape. So I have been able to raise that up and get the land more or less configured how I want to. I do still need to do a lot more rock work along the front, in and around the lake. I've started to fill in how I want the back area to look. So I've been able to raise up those gorgeous printed pieces with some of the magenta, orange and yellow bricks and plates. I really want to be able to fill out a lot of the area in front of that with these fantastic leaf pieces, so I do have quite a few of them to go in. And then I just need to work out what I'm going to do across the top here as well in order to sort of finish off the top section of those leaves. And then obviously that needs to be sort of sloping upwards towards Oaken's trading post section. I've managed to fill in quite a bit of this back section, so it is now all sort of completed. And then I have started to work in here around how I'm going to be able to configure the ice horse, which will be placed on this platform here. So I will need to get a few more blue plates in order to be able to fill in this area, and then also work out how I'm going to be able to fill in with the tiles on top in order to be able to create that more sort of slick ice look. And then also figure out how I'm going to be able to transition the water from Arendelle over towards the frozen lake. And I also did show you a few detailed shots, but I have been working on the waterfall too. So I will just need to finish off this section here, and I will be having grey rock immediately next to the waterfall, and then try and transition that over to the white snow. And I'm also starting to place in, you know, some of the other little items like the wagon and the canoe. I've started to make some space here for Sven and the little baby reindeer as well. I've tried to combine all of this into more of a campsite area too, rather than having it so spread out. I've removed all the lime green from this area as well, because I just really wanted to have that consistent colour palette, and the lime green was sort of throwing things off a little bit. Thank you, Build Ruth, for that great explanation of where we're up to with the forest section this month. Now let's head over to Arendelle City and see what progress has been made in that area. So you can see here that all of those coloured bricks that I bought to pop underneath all the different raised sections are coming in handy. And in this particular section, it is all about the red, gold and green. I was really fortunate that I did already have some of these tan plates in my collection, and I also had the bricks that I use along the front section of this wall as well, which you will see when we head on over to Build Ruth. So let's head over to Build Ruth to hear what she has got to say about this section for this month, and then it will be time to wrap up the video. So you can see here that I have started to do a little bit more work in and around Arendelle. So I have been able to raise this up. It is now raised up by 4 bricks. I'm really happy with how this front wall has come out, and I do want to add in some steps to a jetty so I can have a few rowboats placed out the front of this area as well. Obviously these light aqua plates and the white plate in the middle are only in there temporarily. I do need to get some more tan plates in order to be able to fill out this area completely, and then around the side here I do need to be able to finish off that brickwork that is placed out the front. And then what I would like to be able to do is start to be able to arrange the buildings so that they're in a really nice configuration and they look really gorgeous. And I do think that it would probably be quite nice to be able to get at least one more of those lampposts as well, possibly just over here for the other side. I'm also having a little bit of a think about whether or not I should combine both the castles together to make one larger castle. I'm not too sure about that, so possibly let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments around what to do with the castles. And then hopefully I will also be able to raise up a little section along the back here and then have some more buildings placed in along the back, which I still am yet to build. So that's where that section is up to at the moment. So for now, that is everything that I have been doing in my city. As always, I do hope that you have enjoyed this city update. If you have, it would be fantastic if you could give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future monthly city updates. Until my next video, take care of yourselves and bye bye!